Welcome back to the Motive Mind, where we don't just change our thoughts, we revolutionize our entire existence. Today, I'm going to share with you the most powerful principle I've ever discovered. 4 words that will transform your life forever. React to nothing, control everything. Right now, you're living in one of 2 states. You're either reacting to life or you're controlling life. You're either at the mercy of external circumstances or you're the master of your internal responses. You're either being played by the game or you're playing the game. Most people spend their entire lives reacting. Someone says something, they react. Something doesn't go their way, they react. They see something on social media, they react. They hear some news, they react. Their whole existence becomes one long chain of reactions to things outside their control. But not you, not anymore. Today, you graduate from being a reactor to being a controller. Today, you stop being a victim of circumstances and become the architect of your responses. This isn't just motivation, this is revelation. This is the secret that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary, the powerful from the powerless, the free from the enslaved. So silence your phone, close your door, and prepare to discover the most liberating truth you'll ever hear. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can control everything about how you respond to what happens to you. And in that control lies your unlimited power. Let's begin this transformation right now. The illusion of external control. Here's the biggest lie you've been told your entire life. If only external circumstances were different, then you'd be happy. If only you had more money, then you'd be peaceful. If only people treated you better, then you'd be confident. If only the world was fair, then you'd be fulfilled. This is the great deception. This is what keeps billions of people trapped in cycles of frustration, anger, and disappointment. They're trying to control the uncontrollable while ignoring the one thing they have absolute power over, themselves. Listen to me carefully. You will never, never control other people. You will never control the economy. You will never control the weather. You will never control traffic. You will never control what others think, say, or do. You will never control the past, and you cannot control the future. But here's what you can control, and this is where your real power lives. You control your thoughts. You control your emotions. You control your responses. You control your decisions. You control your focus. You control your energy. You control your standards. You control your boundaries. The moment you stop trying to control the external world and start controlling your internal world, everything changes. The moment you stop reacting to what's outside and start responding from what's inside, you become unstoppable. Think about the last time you got upset. What really happened? Something occurred in the external world, and you allowed it to dictate your internal state. You gave your power away. You let something outside of you control something inside of you. You reacted instead of responded. But what if you didn't have to? What if you could witness external events without being disturbed by them? What if you could observe chaos without participating in it? What if you could see draw without becoming part of it? This is not just possible. This is your birthright. This is who you were meant to be before the world convinced you that you were powerless. Every master throughout history has discovered this truth. Buddha called it detachment. The Stoics called it emotional resilience. Modern psychology calls it emotional regulation. But it's all the same principle. React to nothing, control everything. When you truly grasp this, when you truly live this, you become like a mountain in a storm. The winds of external circumstances may howl around you, but you remain unmoved. The storms of other people's emotions may rage, but your peace remains intact. This is not about becoming cold or unfeeling. This is about becoming selective about what deserves your emotional investment. This is about becoming strategic about where you place your energy. This is about becoming the CEO of your own emotional state. The reactive trap and how to escape it. We live in a reactive society. Everything is designed to trigger you. Social media algorithms feed you content that generates emotional responses. News outlets profit from your outrage. Toxic people thrive on your reactions. The entire system is built to keep you in a constant state of reactivity because reactive people are controllable people. But you're about to break free from this system forever. The reactive trap works like this. Something happens, you feel triggered, you react emotionally, you make decisions from that emotional state, and those decisions create consequences that make your life worse. Then the cycle repeats. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you get angry, you honk and gesture. You arrive at your destination stressed and upset. You bring that negative energy into your next interaction. Someone says something rude, you get offended. You respond with hostility. The relationship deteriorates. You carry that frustration home to your family. Do you see the pattern? One external event triggers an internal reaction that creates a chain of negative consequences. You thought you were responding to them, but actually, you were just damaging yourself. Here's the truth they don't want you to know. Every time you react emotionally to external circumstances, you lose. Every time you let someone else's actions determine your emotional state, you give them power over your life. Every time you respond to negativity with more negativity, you become part of the problem you're trying to solve. But when you learn to respond instead of react, everything changes. Response is conscious. Reaction is unconscious. Response is strategic. Reaction is impulsive. Response comes from your values. Reaction comes from your triggers. Between every stimulus and your response, there is a space. In that space lies your power. In that space, you get to choose who you want to be. Most people never discover this space because they react so quickly. But you're different. You're going to learn to live in that space. Here's how you escape the reactive trap. You create a pause between trigger and response. When something happens that would normally trigger you, you pause. You breathe. You observe what's happening inside you. You notice the emotion arising. You feel it, but you don't become it. You witness it, but you don't identify with it. Then, from that place of awareness, you choose your response, not based on how you feel, but based on who you want to be. Not based on their behavior, but based on your values. Not based on the heat of the moment, but based on your long-term goals. This is what it means to be emotionally intelligent. This is what it means to be mentally strong. This is what it means to be truly free. Practice this. When someone tries to trigger you today, smile internally and think, "Thank you for this opportunity to practice non-reactivity." When something doesn't go your way, think, "This is my chance to demonstrate emotional mastery." When chaos erupts around you, think, "This is where I show my true strength." Remember, the person who can remain calm in chaos has an enormous advantage over everyone else. While others are panicking, you're thinking clearly. While others are making emotional decisions, you're making strategic ones. While others are burning energy on reactions, you're investing energy in results. The anatomy of emotional control. Let me teach you something that will change your life forever. Your emotions are not random events that happen to you. They are created by you, which means they can be controlled by you. Every emotion follows the same pattern: trigger, thought, feeling, action, result. Most people focus on the trigger or the feeling, but the real power lies in controlling your thoughts. Here's how it works. Something happens. Trigger. You interpret what it means. Thought. That interpretation creates an emotional response. Feeling. You act based on that emotion. Action. And you get a consequence. Result. The trigger is external. You can't control it. but everything else is internal. You have complete control over it. The same trigger can create completely different emotions depending on how you think about it. Someone doesn't return your text message. One person thinks, they don't care about me, feels hurt, acts needy, and damages the relationship. Another person thinks, they must be busy, feels neutral, continues with their day, and maintains their dignity. Same trigger, different thoughts, different outcomes. This is the secret of emotional mastery. Change your thoughts, and you change your emotions. Change your emotions, and you change your actions. Change your actions, and you change your results. Change your results, and you change your life. But here's what's even more powerful. You don't have to change your thoughts. You can simply observe them without believing them. You can watch your mind create stories without becoming attached to those stories. You can witness your emotions without being controlled by them. Your mind is like a radio that's constantly playing. Sometimes it plays beautiful music. Sometimes it plays garbage. But you don't have to dance to every song. You can choose which thoughts to amplify and which ones to ignore. Start paying attention to the voice in your head. Notice how it interprets events. Notice how it creates drama out of nothing. Notice how it always assumes the worst. This voice is not you. It's just mental chatter. You are the awareness that observes the chatter. When you realize that you are not your thoughts, you become free from your thoughts. When you realize that you are not your emotions, you become free from your emotions. When you realize that you are the consciousness observing all of this, you become free from all of it. This is true power, not the power to control external circumstances, but the power to remain unshaken by external circumstances. Not the power to control other people, but the power to control your own responses to other people. Practice this. Every morning, set an intention for how you want to show up in the world, not based on what might happen, but based on who you want to be. Then, throughout the day, use every challenge as an opportunity to practice being that person. When someone is rude to you, practice being kind. When something doesn't go your way, practice being adaptable. When others are negative, practice being positive. When chaos erupts, practice being calm. This is how you build emotional muscle. This is how you develop mental toughness. This is how you become unshakable. Remember, you cannot control the waves, but you can learn to surf. You cannot control the storm, but you can learn to dance in the rain. You cannot control other people, but you can master yourself. And when you master yourself, you master your life. Building unshakable inner peace. Peace is not the absence of chaos. Peace is your ability to remain centered in the midst of chaos. Peace is not about having a perfect life. Peace is about having perfect acceptance of an imperfect life. Peace is not something you find. Peace is something you create. Most people think peace comes from external circumstances. They think they'll be peaceful when they get the right job, the right relationship, the right amount of money, the right life situation, but this is backward thinking. External peace comes from internal peace, not the other way around. You cannot have peace in your life until you have peace in your mind. You cannot have calm in your world until you have calm in your heart. You cannot have order in your external circumstances until you have order in your internal responses. Inner peace is not about becoming passive or weak. Inner peace is about becoming so strong that nothing can disturb you. It's about becoming so centered that nothing can knock you off balance. It's about becoming so secure in who you are that nothing can shake your confidence. Here's how you build unshakable inner peace. First, you stop looking for validation from external sources. You stop needing other people's approval to feel good about yourself. You stop needing perfect circumstances to feel content. You find your worth within yourself, not in what others think of you. Second, you develop a practice of daily centering. Every morning, you connect with your deeper self. You remind yourself of who you are beyond your circumstances. You set your intention to remain peaceful, regardless of what the day brings. This could be meditation, prayer, journaling, or simply sitting in silence. Third, you create non-negotiable boundaries around your peace. You decide what and whom you will allow to disturb your serenity. You become selective about what deserves your emotional investment. You protect your inner sanctuary like the sacred space it is. Fourth, you develop the skill of mental detachment. You learn to observe your life like watching a movie. You see the drama, but you don't become the drama. You witness the chaos, but you don't participate in the chaos. You watch the story unfold, but you remember that you are not the story. You are the one watching the story. Fifth, you practice gratitude as a spiritual discipline. You train your mind to look for what's right instead of what's wrong. You condition yourself to see opportunities instead of obstacles. You develop the habit of appreciating what you have instead of complaining about what you lack. When you truly embody inner peace, you become like a lighthouse in a storm. Your peace becomes a beacon for others who are lost in chaos. Your calm becomes contagious. Your strength becomes inspiring. People will notice something different about you. They'll wonder how you can remain so centered when everything around you is falling apart. They'll ask for your secret, and you'll tell them, I stopped trying to control what I can't control and started mastering what I can control. This is the path of the peaceful warrior. Strong enough to face any challenge, yet wise enough not to create unnecessary battles. Powerful enough to influence others, yet secure enough not to need their validation. Confident enough to stand alone, yet loving enough to lift others up. Your peace is your power. Your calm is your strength. Your serenity is your superpower. The ultimate control and controlling yourself. Here's the paradox that will set you free. The more you try to control external circumstances, the more out of control your life becomes. But the more you control yourself, the more influence you have over external circumstances. When you stop trying to control other people and start controlling your own responses to other people, relationships improve. When you stop trying to control outcomes and start controlling your own effort and attitude, results improve. When you stop trying to control circumstances and start controlling your own thoughts and emotions, your entire life transforms. This is the ultimate control, self-control, and it operates in 4 dimensions: mental control, emotional control, physical control, and spiritual control. Mental control is mastering your thoughts. It's choosing what to focus on and what to ignore. It's deciding which thoughts serve you and which ones sabotage you. It's developing the discipline to think about what you want to create rather than what you want to avoid. Your mind is like a garden. You can plant flowers or weeds. You can cultivate beauty or allow chaos. Most people let their mental garden grow wild, then wonder why their life feels chaotic. But you're different. You're going to become the master gardener of your own mind. Start monitoring your internal dialogue. Notice how often your mind focuses on problems instead of solutions. Notice how often it replays past failures instead of visualizing future successes. Notice how often it creates worst-case scenarios instead of best-case possibilities. Then, gently redirect your mental energy toward what empowers you. When you catch yourself thinking about what you don't want, shift to thinking about what you do want. When you notice yourself replaying old failures, shift to rehearsing future victories. When you find yourself creating fearful scenarios, shift to creating exciting possibilities. Emotional control is mastering your feelings. It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about feeling them without being controlled by them. It's about using emotions as information rather than letting them drive your decisions. Every emotion has a message. Fear tells you to be prepared. Anger tells you something matters to you. Sadness tells you to process loss. Excitement tells you you're aligned with your purpose. But you don't have to act on every emotional impulse. You can feel the feeling, receive the message, and then choose your response. Physical control is mastering your body and your environment. It's taking care of your health, your energy, your physical space. It's recognizing that your body is the vehicle for your dreams and treating it with respect. It's creating an environment that supports your highest self rather than undermines it. When you control your physical habits, what you eat, how you move, when you sleep, how you breathe, you gain more control over your mental and emotional states. When you control your environment, what you see, what you hear, whom you spend time with, you make it easier to maintain your peace and focus. Spiritual control is mastering your connection to something greater than yourself. It's recognizing that you are part of a larger purpose, a deeper meaning, a higher calling. It's staying connected to your values even when it's difficult. It's choosing love over fear, growth over comfort, service over selfishness. When you operate from spiritual principles, you become unshakable. Your decisions are guided by wisdom rather than emotion. Your actions are motivated by purpose rather than impulse. Your life becomes an expression of your highest values rather than a reaction to your lowest moments. Here's what happens when you master all 4 dimensions of self-control. You become anti-fragile. You don't just survive challenges, you get stronger from challenges. You don't just endure setbacks, you use setbacks as fuel for comebacks. You don't just cope with chaos, you find opportunity in chaos. People will start coming to you for advice because they see your stability in an unstable world. They'll ask you how you stay so calm, how you remain so focused, how you maintain such clarity. And you'll tell them the truth. I stopped trying to control what I can't control, and I started mastering what I can control. This is not perfection, this is practice. You won't master self-control overnight. A daily discipline, a moment-by-moment choice. But every time you choose response over reaction, every time you choose purpose over impulse, every time you choose growth over comfort, you become stronger. Remember, the strongest person in the room is not the one who can control others. It's the one who can control themselves. The most powerful person is not the one who dominates external circumstances. It's the one who masters internal responses. You have everything you need to become this person. The only question is, will you commit to the practice? We've journeyed together through the most powerful principle in human psychology. React to nothing, control everything. But this is not the end. This is the beginning. This is not information to consume. This is a way of life to embody. Starting right now, you have a choice to make. You can go back to being a reactor, letting external circumstances determine your internal state. Or you can step into your power as a controller, mastering your responses and creating the life you truly want. The old version of you reacted to everything and controlled nothing. The new version of you reacts to nothing and controls everything that matters. Your thoughts, your emotions, your decisions, your energy, your focus, your future. Every challenge that comes your way is now an opportunity to practice this principle. Every difficult person is your teacher in non-reactivity. Every chaotic situation is your training ground for inner peace. Every trigger is your invitation to demonstrate true strength. You are no longer at the mercy of external circumstances. You are the master of your internal responses. You are no longer a victim of other people's behavior. You are the architect of your own experience. You are no longer controlled by the chaos around you. You are the calm in the center of every storm. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your transformation. The world needs people who can remain peaceful in chaos, who can think clearly under pressure, who can respond wisely when everyone else is reacting wildly. The world needs people who embody the principle, react to nothing, control everything. You are that person. You've always been that person. Today, you're just remembering who you are. Your reign of self-mastery begins now. Your journey to unshakable inner peace starts now. Your transformation from reactor to controller happens now. This is the motive mind, and your ultimate control starts this moment. React to nothing. Control everything. Rule your world.